Welcome to Portland Film Beat. I'm Dave Poland, and my guest tonight is Tom McFadden from OMPA, Oregon Media Production Association. Tell us about yourself, Tom.
Well, thanks, David. It's good to be here. I am, like you said, Tom McFadden. I'm the executive director of the Trade Association for Oregon's professional media production industry. By media production, we mean film, television, commercials, web videos, video games, and that's me. I produced independent television through the 90s, and found myself in this position working for OMPA.
Okay, so how did you get involved with OMPA? Was there a path? What path did you follow to
Well,
get there?
I came to Oregon immediately after graduating college and worked as a creative in various writing and development positions, sales and fundraising. I found myself with a position working as an assistant for the executive director at the time, Donna Jennison.
Oh, good.
And some years later, when she retired, I was invited to apply for the position for her job. So it kind of came full circle that way.
So how long has OMPA been in existence?
Well, OMPA has been around since 1982, and it was formed at that time by crew and vendors and equipment vendors in the local industry to support best practices. There were some, believe it or not, there were shady practices going on in the production industry. And the professionals in the industry wanted to make sure that proper standards were being enforced so that when big jobs from LA came up, they knew that they could have confidence in hiring true professionals.
Good.
And then at the same time, that same group, in addition to supporting professional standards, wanted to promote the availability of professional production resources, crew, equipment, to projects that might be coming up primarily from Los Angeles area.
Okay. What are the main functions of OMPA?
Our main function is to network the professional crew members in the industry. So that might have for a variety of reasons. Best practices, sharing of best practices, networking for new jobs, just meeting other professionals in the industry. We throw high-quality networking events to keep people associated. We produce a professional production directory, which we call Source Oregon, which is online at sourceoregon.com.
Okay, I think we have actually
sure.
display that if we can.
Sourceoregon.com. And then we generally promote Oregon as a world-class production center, which is fully emerged onto the landscape, so that when people are thinking of Oregon, they're thinking of us for the incredible business, creative, and production talent that we have to offer.
So the development of OMPA created professional, world-class talent as far as crew members for films, lighting, producers, things like that. Is that helped bring television shows like Grimm and Leverage to the town?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I would think so. That is the point of us advertising our brand and our reputation in Oregon as being a world-class production center, is to give confidence to those projects to be able to bring their projects here. Now, it's for a long time, Oregon has had a history of being able to host a movie or a made-for-TV movie. It had been maybe once, maybe twice a year that a major project would come up. At the point a few years ago when we started hosting multiple major television shows with hundreds of crew members at a single time, it was a real test of our ability to be able to satisfy those jobs, because they're hiring Oregonians. There are some key positions that come up with them, whether they're agencies from Los Angeles or New York or wherever they happen to be. But we are satisfying the equipment and the crew needs, as well as a lot of the acting needs, with local resources. So absolutely, we need to make sure that brand impression of what Oregon does is completely professional and ready to do the job.
What is OMPA's mission?
Well, our mission is to grow jobs and business opportunities in the media production industry in the state of Oregon. So absolutely everybody who joins OMPA and our efforts is doing it for the same reason. They want more work.
Right.
They want more work for themselves. They want more work for their kids. They want more work for the community. That's the mission.
Okay. Who does Oregon's Media Production Association help?
Well, anybody who has benefits from the economic activity in the media production industry. So if you're watching for example, if you're watching a movie and you get to the credits at the end and you see a list of hundreds and hundreds of names that you of jobs that you had never thought would have been associated with a film project. We know about writers and directors and actors, and those are all fantastic jobs. And then there's also people who build and paint the sets, people who drive the trucks onto the sets, people who take, like on the television show Grimm, there are dozens of people who just care for the plants on that television show. There are set painters, costume designers, wig makers, caterers, the hotels which house the people when they're on a location. So anybody who benefits from the economic activity of this of those jobs, whether it's commercials, car commercials, films, televisions, any production that's choosing to.
So it does bring quite a significant amount of jobs and dollars into the Oregon economy.
Absolutely. So I'll break it down for you real quick. The film and television tends to get the most attention because those are the titles that people recognize on TV.
Yeah, of course.
And that business has tripled over the last 6 years. We used to bring in $40 million worth of projects from out of state. Now it's over $120 million of production dollars that are spent in Oregon
on jobs,
on Oregonians, on jobs and services, lumber, supplies. That is only about 30% of the total economic activity of the film and television production industry in Oregon, because there is a wealth of companies that are making corporate videos, television commercials, sales instruction and training videos in the state of Oregon, and
Wyden and Kennedy and commercial places like that.
Exactly. Our reputation as a world-class advertising center is married with our ability to produce those spots that will sometimes get on the Super Bowl, or they might just be a spot for a local mattress or car shop. But everybody needs video, whether you're broadcasting it on the web or on the television. So it's a fairly massive industry. At the last count, the economic impact was over $700 million a year directly, and then if you include the ancillary spending and the circulation of those dollars through the economy, it's $1.39 billion annually of economic impact on the state of Oregon.
That's quite a significant amount.
Yeah.
Okay. How many members are listed with OMPA?
Well, there's just over 1,000 contributors to the trade association. Anybody can join the OMPA. We don't turn anybody down. The benefits of being a member are having access to the information, the invitation to our networking events, a free listing if you're qualified to list in our production directory. And we have about
SourceOregon.com.
Yeah, that's the state of Oregon's professional directory.
I think we should suggest right now that if out there, the people in the community, go out there and look at Source Oregon. You're going to be pretty impressed with how much activity and how many people there are involved in the television and film industry commercials here in Oregon.
Yeah, actually, and that's an interesting point of entry for anybody who wants to know kind of some basic information about how our industry is organized. It's funny, folks in the industry, especially in Oregon, don't tend to, brag about what they do for a living, because it's not glamorous to someone who's working on set. So we don't necessarily publicize our positions. But that being said, on the outside, you'll be amazed at the amount of productivity. So about 1,000 people support the trade association as members, but through the directory, we have more like 1,700 listings of individuals. If you added every last, say, union worker, there'd probably be 2,500 individuals.
Oh, I see what you're saying is, it could list the name of a company that supplies lighting or catering, but it doesn't list that there's 5 people that work or 10 people or 20 people that work for that company.
There's that, and the finer point, this may not even be of interest, but our public presence is SourceOregon.com. We list everybody who's qualified to work in the industry, and then the trade association is a member group which you pay dues to belong to the membership.
Okay.
So the benefits of that getting back to my point, my sales pitch is that
Okay.
you won't turn anybody away from joining the trade association if you want to have access to the same news and information and content that the professional industry members get.
I'm sure they do. I looked at their website, and stage and studio services, writers, directors, producers, and production companies, crew, talent, equipment, props, fabrication, and set dressing, sound and music, post-production, web and interactive, support services and vendors, and liaisons. And with underneath each one of these groups, there's got to be at least 5 others, and maybe even up to 10 that I noticed. So get out there and look at sourceoregon.com. You're going to be pretty impressed.
It's an interesting way to see how an industry is organized. All the way from the above the line, those are the studio services, the finance, the legal, the union contracts, to the producers and the production companies, the creative leads who will do the writing, the directing, and the organizing of the spots, to the crew, and over a dozen departments within the crew, probably closer to 20 different departments in the crew, all supporting the production of a product, the talent the talent and talent representation, just like you listed. But it's really interesting to take a look just at how we organize it, because it gives you a really great basic introduction.
I noticed that out there also they have the acting classes and teachers.
In our workshops, exactly.
If you're out there and you've got kids, or you yourself want to take acting classes, look on sourceoregon.com, and there's a list of some of the top-notch acting coaches in the Portland area listed there.
That's a good point. Can I make a point about that too? It's nice to know, especially if you're just breaking into an industry, it happens a lot with actors, to make sure that you know, how do you get a sense for who's a professional and who's not? Because anybody can say they're an acting coach. So we do support standard. We do support stage. You know, you've had this experience before. So we do publish industry standards and practices. That's kind of the finer details. Really, the basic is. While I said anybody can join the trade association, only vetted professionals can list in the directory. So whether it's in the talent category or in our workshops category, you will only find people presenting workshops who do it as a profession and abide to certain industry standards.
Nice.
So thanks for letting me clarify that, because that's extremely important. Our board of directors has a big heart for people who want to break into the industry, and we don't. It's, you know, this is the 21st century. We don't have to, you know, be naive walking in, you know, with you know, starstruck with the idea that we might get a big job on Grimm if we only pay so much money to someone who says that they'll get us an introduction. It's not how the industry works. You get,
nor should it.
An agent will get paid by finding you a job. Not agents do often offer classes, but if they're truly an agent, they will be getting their income by finding you work, and that's how they'll get paid.
How much has OMPA grown over the past few years because of Grimm, Leverage, and some of the movies that are being made here?
Well,
like Gone,
yeah,
and some of the others.
Yeah, the trade association itself has grown 83% just in the last 5 years.
Nice.
Yeah, it is nice.
Do you see a lot of those are just Oregon people learning new skills, or some of those coming from out of state and relocating
well, it's
here?
Both. It's both. You know, the industry itself, as like I said, in 6 years, we've tripled the amount of work that Oregon recruits from out of state. And so there's a lot more attention. There's been a lot more crewing up. When you go from producing one major television show a year, or semi-major television show a year, to two or three. It means that there's a greater demand on jobs. The crews have had to train up a whole lot of people to get these jobs done. So that impacts the trade association. Now, growing the trade association in itself isn't the goal. Growing the opportunities and the jobs in the industry is the goal. So it is an indicator, like I said, of our relevance in supporting those jobs and in connecting the professionals to get the jobs.
Can we grow too fast?
You can absolutely grow too fast. I mean, there's two answers to that question. Anybody who's out there looking for a job right now would tell you, no, you can't grow too fast. There needs to be more jobs all the time. And by and large, that's our strategy.
Sure.
However, when a major project comes to Oregon, we want to make sure that we really do have the resources to satisfy it. So
You want to keep that professional edge worldwide.
Exactly. There are states in the United States that have virtually unlimited incentive programs to attract their projects to their states. And we do benefit from a generous program by the state of Oregon. It's conservatively apportioned, so it does not grow particularly quickly, which means that we don't run into problems that we might have heard of in other states where so many projects are locating there. There's more work than there are qualified professionals to do the work. And but again,
that can scare people away.
Yeah.
Because they want to show up. Film and television is fast paced.
Well, and it's not good business. If a state wants to get into the business of recruiting major, we're talking about tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars on a given job that will come in and over the course of 6 months employ hundreds of people.
Yes.
If we're going to get into that business, we want to do it in a smart way. And all of my experience with Oregon economic development, Oregon legislative leadership, and our industry leaders is that it's smart people making smart decisions. So yeah, you can grow too quickly, but I don't think that that's a risk that we're going to face.
It doesn't seem like it. It seems like Oregon actually could handle another TV show.
And you might very well, if you keep your eyes open over the next course of the next quarter, you might very well see another TV show be land in the state to start producing.
I know that Dean Devlin has arrived, and he's, I don't know, I don't think it's top secret.
It's no, and that production company, Electric Entertainment, Dean Devlin's production company, was an early adopter of working with bringing TV shows into Oregon. Again, there was a long period where we had movies of the week and an occasional movie, wide release movie. But it was Electric Entertainment that brought us the TV show Leverage, right? And they filmed multiple seasons of that show in Clackamas, Oregon. And then we saw Portlandia generate. We saw the NBC Universal TV show Grimm start shooting in Oregon. Wonderful, wonderful jobs. It really puts Oregon on the map. And we see Electric Entertainment coming back with a project.
I just saw a thing where Grimm had 7.5 million viewers last week.
Amazing.
It's getting up there. It's really getting
Amazing.
top notch. The writing was given some big kudos, I guess.
High quality shows. Yeah, high quality shows for Oregon. Hopefully that's reflected of our locations, of the high caliber crew, the writing, as you mentioned, the acting talent, obviously. The Grimm, the television shows are great for actors in particular, because television shows they'll have their leads, and often their leads are coming from out of state. We know this, but Robert Blanche is a local
He's on there all the time.
He's a major lead on Grimm.
Danny Bruno has a
recurring role. He's a local character, local actor.
Name? I can't think of her. She had played the Indian woman.
I'm blanking on that name.
Me
but
too.
In addition to those,
she's going to kill me next time she sees me too for doing
that. But point is there's some major leads that are reoccurring, and then every single episode, if you watch Grimm, you'll notice, and other TV shows like Leverage, every episode there's another character with a speaking role. These are big jobs. You might only be on there for one episode.
Yeah, Todd Robinson. Great role on there.
Mary
he did a great job.
Mary McDonald Lewis as Frau Pesch. Anyway, we could talk all day about the actors, because every episode there's another speaking
Trust me,
role.
if there's actors listening, they want to hear you talking about it.
Yeah. Well, and it's a great opportunity for actors. There's even been actors who have been the triple threats, right? Who have been on Leverage, Portlandia, and now Grimm.
Yeah, it's good for them.
And we can keep rotating, and that's what makes us a really, really solid industry. I mean, acting talent is a huge part of the infrastructure of a professional industry. And I don't know if you know this, but per capita, Oregon, Portland in particular, has one of the highest ratios of per capita of trained equity actors, which just means theater actors, of any locale in the world.
Wow.
And that means that when and theater actors are considered to be of the highest training and caliber.
I find it.
There's no second takes, right?
Nope.
And so
you have to memorize 90 minutes.
Yes. And sometimes singing and dancing, right? So we have
Not me.
we have a very high pool of qualified actors who are available to support the roles in the both the recurring roles and the walk-on roles for jobs like Grimm and Leverage.
Before we move on, there are a few people that help you in that office.
Oh, yes.
And I would like you to mention their names because they do a great job.
Well, it's funny you mention this because for all we do, you know, it's a very large, dynamic, complex industry. And I tell people we have the budget and the staff of a small neighborhood church. So
It's that.
so Jessica Beer is our
I
administrative
wanted you to
manager.
mention Jessica because she's smart and she works hard. Every time I've been down there to visit you, she's on top of something.
Oh yeah,
she wears a lot of hats.
She keeps me and the rest of the industry organized so that we can stay productive. We also have a sales and telemarketing assistant, Melanie Rose, who also reaches out and helps us do our fundraising and gets people to our events anytime we have phone calls to make. Often it's Melanie who's reaching out to make that call. But that's it. That's the 3-person office. Lots of volunteers. We have a 17-member volunteer board, and we draw on department leaders all the time to make sure that we're organizing the industry properly. Because we defer to those leaders who have risen themselves up in their own departments.
Right. It's good that you have a board of directors to oversee everything that's happening there at OMPA.
Yeah.
Keeps everything, and everybody's got to have somebody to answer to, and it makes, not that you act inappropriately, but it makes you think differently. You know, there's a different take on things. There's a different way of approaching things.
Well, the idea,
and if you get a consensus, generally the consensus says.
Yeah, the idea of a trade association is to represent the interests of an industry. And if I was asked personally, I'm an employee of the trade association, if I was asked to represent every aspect and every job of all of the different platforms of media in Oregon, I wouldn't do as good a job as I do when I have a large and diverse leadership giving their input on how we organize the industry. So absolutely, we would not have a lot of authority if we weren't really reaching out deeply for the feedback. So what we do is we're a voice.
A voice.
So we give voice to an industry. We're a recognized trade association, and we do so statewide. That's why we have a chapter in Eugene, and we have strong connections with Bend and Ashland and other major centers where production work is being done.
Okay, good. What advantage would one have by being affiliated with OMPA if you're involved in media production and you actually have not become affiliated with OMPA?
Sure.
What advantages there?
Well, you would look, first off, ompa.org is the trade association website.
Can we get that web page up there? Tom McFadden.
Yeah.
ompa.org.
Yeah, that's our website. So ompa.org will tell you everything you need to know about what we do. The benefit of being associated as a member is to benefit from, largely, we're a communications agency. So if when Grimm or Electric Entertainment or Portland, if someone's crewing up for a job, they will let us know. We'll let our members know. We post maybe a dozen job postings every week or 2 weeks when we do professional job postings, not just for the major budget film and TV, but for small budget projects, commercials, industrial. Television stations are hiring regularly. So the communications on the jobs, the opportunities, and then we have networking events that we produce on our own. We have film festivals that we're constantly promoting, whether you want to meet a director or listen to a panel, or often we're sending our members on speaking engagements to speak on these panels.
Good.
So it's access to the information is largely what it is. The members of the trade association also get a free listing in our industry directory. But as I said, that industry directory is open to absolutely every qualified individual in the entire state of Oregon for just $35.
And outside of the state too, right?
Well, of course, yeah. Well, but the point is, if it's the Oregonians that we're promoting. So
Right.
once we collect them all, then the benefit, ultimately, like I said, is the reason everybody's involved in the trade association.
Jobs.
More jobs. More jobs for them, more jobs for more Oregonians, and we're succeeding.
Okay. What do you like most working for OMPA? Actually being the executive director.
Well, it's being involved in OMPA is amazing for me because it means I get to help grow jobs in a very relevant 21st century economy.
And you're seeing some really fruits of your labor from that, aren't
Oh,
you?
absolutely. Well, and I was, I mean, I've had the career of a liberal arts trained creative. I know it's a varied path, and you're always trying to find your niche, and it's confusing, and there's not a lot of mentorship. and putting stability in Oregon's creative industries is a huge. I get a lot of pride out of that.
Good. What are some of OMPA's greatest accomplishments?
What are our greatest accomplishments? Well, I mentioned that we've been successful because we've been able to measure the job growth. I'm extremely happy that we've been able to triple the amount of production that we recruit from out of state in 5 years. I'm proud of the fact that we did, show the value and the relevance of the trade association by significantly growing the number of people who belong as members of the trade association. I'm impressed that we have been able we doubled the amount of money that we donate to our scholarship fund this last year. It's called the Media Arts Education Fund Scholarship, and the funds are raised at the fundraising event we hold every July.
Who can get these scholarships?
College students who are pursuing a career in media production, which would include journalism, post-production, photography. And you can find out about the scholarship program. You can find out about all our programs at ompa.org. But the scholarship program, it's not, we raise money, and we wrote 2 checks for $2,000 to 2 students at our annual meeting in January. And that felt really good.
It does.
Yeah, 10 years ago.
Especially the price of education, anything.
Yes.
Anything.
I mean, it's not going to pay the bill, but it's definitely going to help.
Every dollar helps.
Yeah. So it's been nice to see that scholarship grow. It's been nice to see our fundraising event, the OMPA Classic, grow and become a more profitable fundraiser for the scholarship and for OMPA. Anybody who wants to, actually, the best event of the year is the OMPA Classic. It's on 7/11, July 11th. It's in Welches, Oregon. It's at the resort at the mountain. We are just starting to take reservations for people who want to attend.
They can find out about that on the
ompa.org /golf, but you'll find it if you seek us
Does
out.
OMP offer educational programs?
Well, we offer, I think I mentioned that we support the offerings of professional coursework, whether it's done at the Art Institute or the Northwest Film Center, or again, these people who are conducting workshops for acting and talent. So, and we do if there's one program that we organize ourselves, I wouldn't pretend to try to set up a panel to teach someone how to produce. Our industry is set up to mentor people into production jobs.
OMPA guides people to
but
where they
can guide
can
them to the resources. Exactly, and we'll promote those. What we do, one thing that I've been interested in doing is teaching indie producers to work and act like entrepreneurs in addition to being content and entertainment producers. And so as a result, over the last 5 years, we've programmed 5 different seminars on distributing, marketing, and financing independent projects.
Running out of time here. I want to thank Tom McFadden, OMPA, and the people that work at OMPA for the great job they're doing, bringing jobs to Oregon, bringing a lot of more media, television, film, commercial productions to Oregon. I also at this time want to thank my director, Ellery Nelson, for the hard work he does over there in the studio. I also want to thank my wife, who is also the producer, Carol Poland. Thank you for coming and visiting us here on Portland Film Beat, and until next time, I hope that you shoot for the silver screen.